Just when it looked like the Shedeur Sanders conversation was finally beginning to cool down, Rex Ryan walked straight back into the middle of it, and this time, he didn't need a television debate, an ESPN segment, or a long interview to reignite the entire controversy. All it took was one comment on social media. After Shedeur Sanders shared a behind-the-scenes look at his life, Rex Ryan jumped into the comments and wrote, "Get a load of this kid. Great talent needs to realize as a franchise QB, there has to be more we than me. Come on, man, grow up." And almost instantly, the NFL world started asking the same question. Why does Rex Ryan still seem so focused on Shedeur Sanders? Because this isn't the first time Ryan has taken aim at the young quarterback. In fact, this latest Instagram comment is just another chapter in a storyline that has been building since before Shedeur even entered the NFL. And the timing made it even more interesting. Around the same period, Shedeur had been speaking about the media personalities who criticized him throughout his football journey. He explained that he understands the media is built around attention, algorithms, and people using his name to create content. But while he understands how the system works, he also made it clear that he doesn't necessarily respect people who attack athletes simply because it helps them make money or generate attention. Shedeur never specifically named Rex Ryan. There is no confirmed evidence that Ryan's Instagram comment was a direct response to those remarks. But considering Ryan has spent months publicly criticizing Sanders, fans immediately began connecting the two moments. And that is exactly where this story became bigger than one Instagram comment. Because Rex Ryan has been one of Shedeur's loudest critics since the draft process. Long before Sanders ever wore a Cleveland Browns uniform, Ryan was already questioning whether the quarterback's confidence matched his actual production. He questioned his maturity. He questioned his attitude. He questioned whether his personality could become a problem for an NFL franchise. And when Shedeur unexpectedly slid all the way to the 5th round of the NFL draft, Ryan's criticism suddenly had a major piece of evidence behind it. For months, analysts and fans had been debating why a quarterback with Shedeur's production and name recognition was not selected earlier. Some believed teams were overthinking his personality. Others believed the league had legitimate concerns about his game and his approach. But Ryan seemed to believe the fall was proof that NFL executives had noticed the same warning signs he had been talking about. And instead of disappearing after the draft, the criticism followed Shedeur to Cleveland. That is where the conversation became even more intense. Shedeur arrived in the Browns' quarterback room with enormous expectations, a famous last name, and one of the biggest spotlights any late-round rookie could possibly carry. Every practice report mattered. Every interview mattered. Every social media post became something fans could debate. And while most rookies are given time to develop away from the national spotlight, Shedeur had almost no chance of getting that luxury. He was Deion Sanders' son. He had already been a national story at Colorado. He had already built a massive following. And now he was trying to prove he belonged in the NFL while critics were watching every single move. Then came the comments that pushed Rex Ryan's criticism to another level. When Shedeur spoke about competing for the Browns' starting quarterback job, Ryan didn't exactly respond with patience. Instead, he argued that Sanders should focus less on talking about becoming the starter and more on earning the trust of his coaches and teammates. Ryan went even further, suggesting that Shedeur should be embarrassed that he was not already the starting quarterback and accusing him of talking too much while still needing to prove himself. That criticism immediately exploded across the football world. Some people agreed with Ryan and argued that a rookie quarterback cannot simply talk his way into becoming a franchise leader. In their view, the NFL does not care about confidence unless that confidence is backed up by preparation, performance, and leadership. But others believed Ryan was going too far. They argued that Shedeur was being criticized for simply showing confidence, something many other quarterbacks are praised for. And this is where the debate surrounding Sanders has always been complicated. When another young quarterback talks about wanting to start, people may call it confidence. When Shedeur says something similar, critics often question whether he is arrogant. When another athlete posts behind-the-scenes content, fans call it branding. When Shedeur does it, suddenly people are asking whether he is too focused on himself. And that is when this story could get much bigger. Because once the football starts, the debate surrounding Shedeur Sanders will finally move from opinions to evidence. No longer will the biggest question be what Rex Ryan thinks about his personality, what analysts think about his confidence, or what fans think about a social media post. The question will become brutally simple. Can Shedeur Sanders actually play at the level required to become the face of an NFL franchise? That is the standard waiting for him in Cleveland. And the pressure is enormous. He is not entering the league as an anonymous late-round quarterback, hoping to quietly develop behind the scenes. Every snap he takes will be watched through the lens of everything that happened before it. The draft slide, the criticism, the questions about his attitude, the constant comparisons to his father. The debate over whether his confidence is a strength or a weakness. All of it will follow him onto the field. If he throws a touchdown, supporters will say the critics were wrong. If he throws an interception, the critics will immediately point back to every warning they made before he ever played an NFL game. That is the reality Shedeur has created for himself, whether he likes it or not. But the strange thing is, the attention surrounding him may also become one of his biggest advantages. Shedeur has been under a microscope for years. He has already experienced the pressure of playing for a famous father, playing in front of massive audiences, and dealing with criticism that most young quarterbacks never face. He has heard people question his talent. He has heard people question his personality. He has heard people say his confidence is too much. He has heard people say he talks too much. He has heard people suggest that his name helped him get opportunities. And yet, he has continued to put himself in the spotlight. That is something his supporters see differently from his critics. To them, Shedeur is not running from the attention. He is learning how to survive inside it. And that may be the real reason the Rex Ryan criticism continues to create such a strong reaction. Because the debate is no longer just about one quarterback. It is about what the NFL expects from young stars in the modern era. Does a quarterback have to be completely quiet and team-first behind the scenes? Or can he build a brand, post his lifestyle, speak with confidence, and still become a great leader? There are examples on both sides of the argument. The NFL is filled with quarterbacks who built massive personalities and became leaders of their teams. It is also filled with talented players whose confidence eventually became a distraction. The difficult part is that nobody knows which path Shedeur is going to take yet. That is why every criticism feels premature to his supporters. They believe the league has already formed an opinion about him before he has had enough time to prove himself. And when a player is judged before he gets the opportunity to play, every mistake becomes confirmation of the original opinion. That is what Shedeur has been fighting against since the draft process. His critics see a pattern, his supporters see a double standard. And the truth may not become clear until he gets a real opportunity to control the game. But there is another layer to this story that makes the Rex Ryan situation even more interesting. Ryan is not simply saying that Shedeur lacks talent. In fact, he has repeatedly acknowledged that Sanders has the ability to be an NFL quarterback. That is what makes his criticism so intense. Ryan seems to believe that the talent is obvious, but something else is missing. The question is whether that missing piece is maturity, leadership, preparation, or simply the perception surrounding Shedeur. And those are completely different problems. A quarterback can improve his footwork. He can improve his decision-making. He can improve his accuracy. But changing the way an entire league views you is much more difficult, especially when your last name is Sanders. Every decision Shedeur makes is connected to his identity. Every confident statement becomes a conversation about his father. Every criticism becomes a debate about whether he is being treated unfairly because of his background. And every success becomes a comparison to what people expected him to become. That is a massive burden for any young quarterback. But Shedeur has never appeared interested in shrinking himself to make other people more comfortable. That confidence is part of what made him successful before the NFL. It is also part of what made so many people question him before the draft. And now, Rex Ryan is once again challenging that exact personality. When Ryan says there has to be more we than me, he is essentially telling Shedeur that talent and confidence are not enough. He is saying that a franchise quarterback must convince an entire locker room to follow him.
Shedeur